I went to see Rachel because I'd been in hospital and I was in a really bad place, to be honest, and I didn't want to go on holiday because I was scared of things that was going to happen and whether I'd be in a country that knew what I was doing, to be honest. When I went to see Rachel, I didn't want to go on holiday, but I felt like I had to because of my little girls and my family. When I went into Rachel's house, I was unsure of what to expect because I'd had Reiki before, but I'd never done tapping. When she started to do the tapping, I was a bit dubious at first and felt silly because I was just tapping my hand and I was repeating what she said, which made me feel quite awkward, to be honest. But as it went on, I started to feel really sleepy and really tired. And I started to notice different things in my body changing. So I was getting lumps in my throat, pains in my shoulders. And Rachel kept asking me these questions like, where was I getting the pains? Where was I getting different sensations? And then she'd work on them areas. And they gradually started to subside. At that point, I thought this must be working, because at first with me being dubious, I don't think I was letting it work. And then as things started to happen, I kind of realised that something was happening and I was unsure of what it was. And I went with it, and then I started to yawn. But then I couldn't copy her because I was yawning too much and feeling really strange yawning as I was trying to copy her and tapping at the same time. And then after the session had finished and I was still yawning, it was like a weight had lifted off my shoulders. I felt really different. Like I was like not like a new person, but like there was something there that I had something to grip onto, something to go away with and take with me. And as I left, my husband rang me, and at that point I realised that something had changed because I couldn't shut up, and all I wanted to do was talk to him and tell him what experiences I'd just gone through and how I felt. When we was on our way home, I was with my father-in-law and I kept yawning, but I couldn't talk to him because I was yawning that much. And by the time I got home, my mindset had completely changed. I was ready to pack my bags to go on holiday. I was excited, which I'd not felt in over 3 weeks. I was excited to go away. I had things in clear perspective. I knew what I needed to do before I went away, how I was going to do it, what I needed to do with my insurance, ring them and double check everything. Everything was much clearer to me. So then, obviously, I went away and we got to the airport, and I was fine in the airport until we was ready to board the plane. When we was boarding the plane, I could feel anxiety starting to rise and starting to panic because I was in a confined situation. There was no doctors and nurses that was genuinely going to be about if anything did go wrong. So my husband said to me, start to use your tapping, because he knew what I'd experienced before. So we were sat in the departure lounge and we was both tapping together, which might have looked strange for some people, but it really worked and calmed me down to get me on the plane. And then when I got on the plane, I continued to tap while I was sat in my seat. And I was absolutely fine then for the rest of the flight and the remainder of the holiday, until one point, I think it was the second week in my holiday, my heart palpitations started again. And I think subconsciously I was panicking about why they'd come back because I'd been fine for such a period of time. Then we was in a restaurant and I started to tap underneath the table. And as I was tapping, I could feel myself wanting to cry. But obviously we had other family and friends around us, and I took myself out of the restaurant, and as I was tapping I started to cry. And once I'd released this, whatever it was that needed to come out of my body, I went back in and continued the rest of my night. So there's obviously some benefit from tapping, because when I do it in different situations it does help me. It's just knowing how to do it and when to do it.